Point.
What's up, boys? Welcome back. Second week. How we doing? How we doing this week?
Pretty
Pretty
good,
good.
man. Good weekend. You get 2 wins.
Great weekend.
Yeah, you got 2 wins by the skin of your teeth. We'll get to that though. Everyone else good? Everyone else good in the best area in the world, New England area?
Also good,
I
man.
picked up a couple fantasy wins. I can't complain.
Yeah, I was
Nice.
able to scraped by an 8-point win. Played awful, still got it. So pretty happy.
I lost by 40 in fantasy. Peyton Manning, dude.
Peyton, I don't even know why you'd have
Calvin
Peyton.
Johnson, too. Calvin Johnson had 3 points.
Well, let's just quickly address why you have Peyton Manning as your starting
Because
quarterback.
it's a keeper league, and I'm new. Because all my buddies had won last year, and then there's a keeper league. One of the kids dropped, so I joined because it's only 10 kids. So everybody kept all their quarterbacks. Like Brady got kept. Luck got picked in the second round because I picked Calvin Johnson. After I picked Calvin Johnson, the guy picked Luck. I was planning on picking Luck in the third round.
Wait,
So everybody kept 2 guys. There's no studs. So I
Manning,
think I have DeMarco, who sucked, which is I'm really upset about. I don't
Yeah.
really care, dude.
hey, he scored twice though. All right,
Yeah. I had more yards than him.
I know. Let's get to this. We're gonna do a quick recap of a couple solid games this weekend. We'll start off with Pat Steelers, which was not this weekend. Wow. It was pretty much exactly the way we all said it was going to be. Pretty much domination from the Patriots. The scoreline was great. Antonio Brown ended the game with a touchdown catch, screwed me in a win on my football pool. That's about it. Quick thoughts on this game. Let's just go around. Dave, start us off.
Basically, Tom Brady's back. Fantastic game. Really want to talk about is Rob Gronkowski. We all know what Gronk can do. He's fantastic. But he scored 3 touchdowns, and one of them fumble right on the goal line. He's able to dive down and get it, and it was just
That was a huge
absolutely. Go
That
ahead.
wasn't a touchdown.
Well,
Touchdown's
yeah,
the next play.
they called it back, and then the next play, he just took an over-the-shoulder pass right into the breadbasket. It was fantastic. Like, nothing they can do can stop this guy. The only defensive player that I think could maybe stop him is Clay Matthews and maybe Cam Chancellor if he ever stops holding out for Seattle.
You think Clay Matthews can stop Gronk?
They're both similar types of build. They both have really good speed. So I think if you put them on there and they're doing a short route, I could see Clay Matthews doing it. But if you do bump and run like how they did in the Super Bowl where Gronk scored the touchdown, I think he might blow past him.
I don't think anybody can stop Rob Gronkowski. And there's absolutely nobody. And the funny part was, and I think one of the highlights of this game was, not only can nobody stop Gronk, but the Steelers decided not to cover him, which was a brilliant idea.
That was funny.
Fantastic.
I was
play
screaming
call.
because I had him.
It was perfect. But that's fine. They had Scott Chandler covered up all day, so that was
Their secondary was
team
not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I thought their secondary was going to be absolutely awful, just giving up big play after big play.
Was it good? Brady threw 7 incompletions.
Brady just
I'm
no.
saying
Brady
they played
just
secondary.
knocked him to death.
But
Matt,
George,
I'm
what
saying
were
the
your thoughts on
Patriots
this game,
secondary was
quick?
not that bad as I thought it was going to be.
What's
I
up?
thought
Yeah.
Ben Roethlisberger was going to come up.
Yeah, a few thoughts. One, excited about the offense again. I think I was kind of worried without LaFell playing that the receiving core might take a hit. Brady might suffer a little bit as a result, but Edelman stepped up, had 11 catches. Gronk, we saw 4 Gronk spikes, which is always a treat.
Mhm.
I was very excited, next man up philosophy about Dion Lewis with Blunt out. One good game doesn't make a season for running back, as we know with Patriots, what we saw with Jonas Gray last year. But it's encouraging to know that we have a guy who could potentially fill that Shane Vereen role. Only thing, a little bit questionable, the secondary didn't look great. We knew that might be an issue coming in. I already hate Bradley Fletcher. He's my new Arrington.
One of my favorites. One of my favorite Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, you loved him in the
Wasn't
Eagles
that
game
bad.
on Sunday Night Football last year.
I loved him. I loved him when my man was dropping it all over him.
No, that's a good call. And I think going off of what you just said defensively, my big issue was the Patriots' failure to set the edge on runs. They weren't able to keep contained whatsoever, whether it was Ninkovich, whether it was Chandler Jones. And we know Chandler Jones had some troubles in the past couple years defending the run. That's obviously not his strength. He's a pass rusher. He had 11 sacks in his only healthy year. But he's got to get better at it at some point because he wasn't able to do it at all. This is D'Angelo Williams. I mean, D'Angelo Williams is like 65 years old. You can't be giving up 120 yards to him. And the thing is, it wasn't just 120 yards with a couple big plays. It was 120 yards, a couple big plays, and he probably averaged around 6 or 7 yards a carry, which is completely ridiculous. Now, part of that's the game plan, but at the same time, you need to be able to stop them from going 120 on the ground, and they gave up 351 through the air. Tim, I don't know if you thought.
Steelers had 2 backup offensive linemen in too. Like Pouncey's out. I think their left guard was out too. So I think it'll be interesting to see the way the Patriots stack up against a running dominant team. The Steelers without Le'Veon Bell are not a, that's what even Mike Tomlin. They're like, oh, do you think D'Angelo Williams can play for you guys well this year? He goes, he can play while Bell's out. He can play 2 games and we can cut him. So I think it'll be interesting when they play some tougher running teams. But
the thing is too, the guys inside. I mean, Malcolm Brown, apart from one hustle play that he made where he made a sack of the phenomenal passer Antonio Brown. That was the only real decent play he had the entire game. Yep. He got blown off the ball the entire time, and he looked awful. Plus the fact that Easley, of course, was taken out early. They may have some issues in the interior line and just stopping the run in general. So that could be my only concern. And I think, George, you made a good point about Bradley Fletcher. I'm genuinely concerned about him for a lot of reasons. I mean, one, in the defensive scheme that Belichick runs, you're not going to get help over the top all the time, and Bradley Fletcher's going to need help over the top all the time, because I'm pretty sure there are some high school kids I've seen, some 5'5" white boys that have breezed through Bradley Fletcher. So, little disconcerting, but not the biggest deal. In the end of the day, solid win. I don't think anybody's questioning the fact the Patriots dominated that game. They're going to go into Buffalo next week. Rex Ryan's going to try his little ridiculous media scheme throughout the week. He's going to flood the field and rush through the middle the entire time on Tom Brady, and we'll see how it goes. I have a feeling it'll be okay, but we'll get to that a little later on. Let's stick with the Bills. Tim, you mentioned earlier to me that they looked really good. Couldn't agree more. I am the only one who predicted them to beat the Colts. Yep.
Well, hey.
And I'm right. You're wrong. I knew it. As always. Go ahead.
Well, what I was saying earlier is that, or what I said last week, the Colts are the most phony team of all time. And every time you want to believe in the Colts, they lay an egg on you. Even when you're like, oh, all right, I'm playing Andrew Luck in fantasy. He doesn't have any touchdowns yet. I don't want to believe in the Colts. And then they throw too much. Well, you're on the AFC side. I can appreciate it.
I'm on the side that isn't Satan. They're horrible.
Dude, they didn't do anything on defense. Tyrod Taylor split them up. And Carlos Williams had a 40-yard touchdown. You know Carlos Williams? From Florida State? Yeah. He wasn't the best running back of Florida State last year.
Carries. Dude, 55 yards and 6 carries. It's pretty good.
I mean, the Colts just looked bad. And
they looked bad.
Phony. Luck. Yeah.
I never said that.
They're phony.
Sucks. Can we stop comparing him with Aaron Rodgers and Tony Romo and Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady? He's not there yet. And you know what? He may have the intangibles to be there, but a lot of guys have had the intangibles to be there.
He certainly has the talent around him to be there. Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. Every year they're like, his talent level gets better. Well, what does he need? Does he need an 07 Randy Moss, Rob Gronkowski, and, the other team's play sheets like the Patriots have had for years, of course?
That's a good point. He doesn't have the other team's play sheets. That could be why he's not playing as well.
It's an issue the Colts have been trying to address for years. George, what were your thoughts on the Bills?
Yeah, just to reiterate what you just said, I think Andrew Luck, like you said, physically, he has the tools to be an elite quarterback, but I can't stand that the ESPN commentators keep calling him elite. The word elite means absolutely nothing now. He has no statement wins. He's never stepped up in a big game. Like, you could argue that maybe the divisional win against the Broncos last year is a big win, but that was just Peyton just, hobbled out there and turned it on.
Not to interrupt you. I'll let you keep going right away just to throw some stats out there for that win. It was his most impressive playoff win other than the Kansas City comeback. In my eyes, that was his most impressive win. And the numbers tell you he had a very pedestrian at best day. 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 76 quarterback rating. I always say this about Andrew Luck. More interceptions in the postseason than he has touchdowns. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah. And then just another point. Everyone's been saying this whole offseason, the Colts are the team to beat in the AFC. They retooled. By retooled, they mean they got Gore and Johnson, 2 veterans who are well past their prime. Johnson's still a serviceable wide receiver. He's not your wide receiver 1 anymore. Gore's best days are well behind him. And the other thing, their defense is not improved at all. Their defense might have gotten worse.
Absolutely.
It's terrible. And then like Tyrod Taylor, you can't let Tyrod Taylor torch you. I think BC used to shut that guy down back in the day.
Absolutely. He beat Matt Ryan in the ACC championship.
All right.
They blew him out. Remember that?
I remember that.
I was supposed to go.
Ugh.
My dad was like, no, we'll go to the BCS Bowl. Nope. That one year, the BC was unreal. We were ready to rock.
Was that the first or the second time Virginia Tech beat him in a bowl game?
I mean, it's probably the 1,000th time Virginia Tech.
2 years in a row.
BC never made it past the ACC championship.
No, we blew our opportunities.
So good that
Dave,
year.
Dave, what were your quick thoughts on this one?
Yeah, there's really not much else to say. You guys really hit all the nails on the head. Andre Johnson and Frank Gore, everybody was hyping them up as, this is what Andrew Luck's going to need. He's going to be riding them to the Super Bowl. They're going to be an offensive juggernaut. Frank Gore can't stay healthy. Andre Johnson, I'm pretty sure, has dust in his shoes because he's disintegrating because he's that old. And then T.Y. Hilton got injured during the game, and he's week to week now. So the Colts offense, if T.Y. Hilton can stay healthy and Andre Johnson can kind of show that he's got a little bit of the old self, they can still be good. But their defense, they cannot stop the run. LeGarrette Blount in the AFC Championship game and other games he's played against them, they can't stop the Patriots run game. They can't stop Tyrod Taylor and the Buffalo run game. Like, I can understand if LaShawn McCoy is going in and absolutely destroying you, but Tyrod Taylor? Go ahead.
Did you just say LaShawn?
LaShawn McCoy.
LaShawn.
Is that Big Sean's cousin? Like, LaShawn, Little Sean.
LaShawn McCoy. L-E-S-E-A-N McCoy.
I heard LaShawn.
I understand. But, like, you were like, what's backwards say what Sean is doing? Lay Sean. The act of Sean laying.
No,
You were saying like a French Sean, like Le Sean.
Lay Sean.
Yeah, isn't that his name?
Dude, he was about as useful as a French baguette the other day, man.
Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you one thing about the Colts, though. And even though LaShawn McCoy played poorly, and I think he'll have a better time against the Patriots, believe it or not.
Mm-hmm.
The only things about the Colts that are consistent is, one, that they're going to uphold the integrity of the game. That's very important. But other than that, there's absolutely nothing to them. They don't have a chance at running at the Patriots. Even the Ravens, who I think are going to come back, even without Terrell Suggs, I'm sticking with this. But that's fine. I'm glad you all pointed out what I have been saying for about 10,000 years now, that Andrew Luck is not an elite quarterback yet. ESPN blows smoke up his butt the entire time. They love him. He's essentially become the new Peyton Manning in the sense that he just amasses numbers. He doesn't do anything else. And what's funny is, even in the postseason, he can't amass numbers. He sucks. So we're all just gonna keep riding the Andrew Luck train. That's fine. I'll be here to tell you that you're all wrong.
Yeah,
I'm glad you guys are with me, though.
It was probably because the Bills were too mean to the Colts. Did you see that? With all their fans are writing letters to the Bills owners now saying how they were disrespected in the stadium.
I saw the best tweet today.
Bills Mafia.
Instead of hanging another finalist banner, even though Bob Kravitz suggested that the fans write letters to the Bills organization about how they were treated, they're gonna hang a banner. 2015 wrote stern letter to the Bills. So that was tweeted
so
today.
soft.
Shout out to whoever did that. Tim, get us started with Cowboys Giants. What a game!
Oh, where to start? Wow. I was shaking hands. My roommate's a Giants fan. Shook his hand, said congratulations after the Odell Beckham first down, because I didn't think there was a chance. If you read my article today, I don't think there's a chance that a Super Bowl winning quarterback and a Super Bowl winning coach would give you 45 extra seconds or not take a 10-point lead with 2 minutes left. And in a game they should not have won. That game should have been 42-0. The Cowboys' first two drives, they had a 18-play drive to start the game. Didn't score a touchdown. Then they go on, the next drive, and Giants get a field goal, whatever. Next drive, same thing. Long, drawn-out drive, no touchdown. Hang around, Cole Beasley, who's known to, they knew he was going to fumble. They hit him from behind. As soon as he cut up field, like, he's going to fumble here. Fumble, they pick it up for touchdown. Okay, whatever. 4-point game. Typical Giant bounce right to the dude. Nobody's in the area. Next play, they get another lucky bounce for the interception. Move down. They're up 10. But there's something, like, dude, the Cowboys in the last couple of years, they get down by a lot, and I'm like, geez, here we go again, right? There's something about Romo now and the offensive line that I didn't think they were out of the game until the Giants had the ball with a minute left. And
Well, I mean,
even then, they weren't out of the game.
That offensive line is impenetrable.
Dude, like at the end of the game, Romo got hit twice. Once was on a touchdown. The second was a roughing the passer that wasn't called on the final drive. Like, and the Giants, as soon as they kicked the field goal, like I'm looking at the clock, like 1:45. I'm afraid the Cowboys are going to give the ball back to the Giants with too much time left. That's what I was worried about. Like,
Yeah.
dude, and I mean, he just Lance Dunbar with a long play, and then Witten. Giants can't cover Witten.
Drive.
You know what I mean? Dude, Jason Witten needs to change his name to David, dude. He's a Giant Slayer. It's all he does. Him, Beasley, and that was a huge win. Unfortunately, the Cowboys' offensive line was awesome. Tyron Smith was awesome. Ron Leary was out. Tyron Smith, did you guys see the clip? The Giants defensive end is up to take him on with Randall running behind him, and Tyron Smith was like scratching his face, and he just threw the dude with one arm.
He's unbelievable.
He is a huge human being.
And I want to get to something about the Giants in a minute. First of all, just on Tyron Smith, I think I've been making the argument over the last couple of years. I think, in general, when you look at his impact on the team, I think he's a top 10 player in the NFL. It may sound like a Skip Bayless hot take there. I'm not trying to be. You just look at the level of production. You look at what he does on a consistent basis. He's unbelievable. And I think only people that really understand the game and dissect film, such as a genius such as myself, would be able to recognize. Of course. No, honestly, no. Honestly, though, if you watch him play, he's really unbelievable. But I want to get to something about the Giants in a second. George or Dave, give your thoughts on this game, whatever you have. And I got to get.
Yeah, I'll hop in for a sec. Similar to what Tim was saying, I want to harp on every year, except for last year and this year, you'd always say the Cowboys come in with a lot of hype, and then they end the season 8-8. That was the running joke. Or Tony Romo is going to come down to the last game, the last drive, and he's going to throw an interception. But for some reason, it just doesn't feel like that. We're seeing that Tony Romo. We're seeing this guy who, when he gets the ball and he's got a minute left, you think he can make a play happen. Maybe that's because of his offensive line, and they're so good, and he gives so much time to be protected. But for some reason, like, something has changed with Tony Romo. He leads the league in fourth quarter comeback drive since 2006. He's been playing fantastically. Now, a big blow to the Cowboys, obviously, this game was losing Dez Bryant, who's now out 4 to 6 weeks. He's got to have surgery on his foot. That is going to hurt, but at the same time, the Cowboys still have Jason Witten, who is discovered the fountain of youth somehow.
Tim was so in denial. Tim was so in denial about the Dez injury.
No, dude, I was thinking, why don't we just rest him? I'm just going to rest him until the Super Bowl. Why have him play? Just rest him until the Super Bowl. That's fine.
Hey,
we'll play the Patriots week 5. They won't see Dez. They're like, all right, whatever. We're going to kick the hell out of this team in the Super Bowl. Super Bowl, hey, here comes Dez. 3 touchdowns, 220 yards. It's fine with me. But honestly, like, what I think is great about the Cowboys playing the Patriots is that game is going to be the same offense against each other.
Yeah.
It's going to be
That's
like
true.
line up the two teams right now. All right, wide receivers. Who do we got? We have Terrence Williams. Just got Bryce Brown, who's pretty good. Cole Beasley. What is that? That's LaFell. That's Edelman. I'll say Williams is better than LaFell, and Edelman's better than Beasley. That's fair, right?
Yeah.
All right, so Escobar is just as big as Gronk. Gronk's obviously has the advantage there, but they could work their way into running the similar offense, and they put it on the quarterback. And that, Dave, you said we're seeing a new Tony Romo.
Who's a better quarterback?
No, Tom Brady's a better quarterback, proven. Right?
A bit of a Freudian slip there, Tim. You almost said Tony.
No, I was talking about how you said we're starting to see a different Tony Romo. We're not.
I don't think we're seeing
the same Tony Romo, but we're seeing help. He's got help now. You know what I mean? Dude, he didn't even fumble the snap. It was a bad snap on the touchdown play. And as soon as the ball hit the ground, I said touchdown. Most guys would dive on the ball, game over. Like, just not, but he's so into it at that second. They picks it up, turns around, Jason Witten's wide open. Like, he threw it right through Jason. Awesome. But
Calm down.
With Dez Bryant, that's a huge hit. I think losing Randy Gregory might be a bigger hit because he was awesome the other day. And the Cowboys played most of the entire game without Dez, in the final drive, Dez wasn't there. All the touchdown drives, Dez wasn't on the field. So,
George, you got anything in this game?
I think you guys covered most of it. I just would reiterate what Dave said, that I think you tweeted it too, like, don't ever say that Tony Romo is not clutch. Is this guy? He's been doing this. Like, he's been under the radar for so many years. He's been producing at this level. He's like, just like you guys have said, he's never had the help. He's had Dez, he's had the O-line, but he's never like really like been able to put it all together. And now everyone's kind of seeing it on the big stage.
And it sucks too because Tony Romo gets such a bad rap for those late December, like fourth quarter drives where he'll throw a pick to like end the season and not get them into the playoffs. But he actually can do a lot of things in the late stages of the game to win.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go
I
back.
was basically gonna rant real quick about the Giants, but I'll spare you. I'll just say quickly that the only time that they ever do anything that doesn't suck is against the Patriots. It's unbelievable. Every other time, Tom Coughlin make some ridiculously stupid mistake. I mean, it's third down and you run the ball and you have a chance to shave 30, 40 seconds off the clock to go up. And never mind 30, 40 seconds off the clock. There's been talk that they told Jennings not to go into the end zone.
Dude, that kills me. That is so funny.
I've ever heard in my life.
Dude, Eli told him.
Could you have told Ahmad Bradshaw not to go into the end zone?
He did. They told Ahmad Bradshaw not to go into the end zone.
Stop.
All right, I'm not going to go there because I get emotional. But let's talk about something else.
Wait, Matt, one sec. I'll say this. I was getting my hair cut yesterday, and I was in the barbershop talking about the game because I wear my Cowboys Run the East shirt. You know, I'm all pumped up. And a dude says to me, he goes, dude, it seems like every time the Giants win, they need something crazy lucky to happen.
And it happens against us.
Dude, it happened 4 times on Sunday, and they still didn't win. But, like, both Super Bowls. So lucky, like, that's football, man. They get the bounces, and, you know, they're 2 bounces away from Tom Coughlin not having a job, Eli Manning not being resigned.
Not having a job in 2007. Forget about
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying those 2 bounces in the Super Bowl.
No more Giants.
No more let's talk. Hey, let's talk. We were just talking about the Colts being all hype. Let's talk about the all hype Philadelphia Eagles. What do we say?
What about them? Are we going to get to them quickly, or am I going to be able to talk about Peyton Manning real quick?
We got Peyton Manning, man.
What?
You threw Peyton in his grave already.
I need to bury him lower.
He's got to piss on the grave now.
Matt, we should give you a Peyton Manning rant show.
Please, this is my moment. Really quickly. He sucks. He threw 175 yards. Most of them were absolute garbage throws. He is one of the best, if not the best, receiving core in the NFL. He threw it for 60% completion percentage, which is great when you can throw it 2 yards out in front of you to absolutely no one. He's totally out of sync. They changed the offense for him, which, by the way, his only production on the scoreboard was a pick 6. They changed the offense for him to shorten the passes. Why not change the offense? Get rid of him. He sucks. He looks like he's throwing a 10-pound brick every time he throws a football. That's all I needed to get off my chest. Denver will have a losing record by the end of the season.
Crisco, I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
Huh.
You're totally getting one of those shirts that's outside of Fenway that says, I hate Peyton Manning, and then Eli sucks too on the back, because that is literally like your entire personality.
Dude, Peyton, I'm not ready to bury him 1 game into the season, but if the trend continues, dude, he couldn't even throw the ball. Like, he wasn't throwing with any velocity, any zip. Just, it's sad. You know?
He's the worst quarterback in the history of football. Tim, Eagles.
Dude, stop.
Go ahead.
You can't.
Yeah. If I just quickly on this, like, I'm just looking at the stat line here: 175 yards, no touchdowns, a pick, and a QBR of 26.4. Like, that's a stat line that like Blaine Gabbert would have. That's
Dude, Brady
Blaine
had
Gabbert.
that last year in the Chiefs game, right?
No, yeah, I'm not condemning Peyton right now because I think like we saw with Brady last year, he played like shit for the most part for the first couple games of the year, and then he just turned it around the whole way. But I think like Peyton though is a different case because you saw end of last year he did not have the zip on the ball. All the like last half of last year he did not have the zip on the ball. He can't hit his receivers anymore. I'm pretty sure his shoulder's just stapled on at this point. So.
It's not even stapled on. The staples coming out. He finished last season after the New England game with 17 touchdowns to 12 picks. That's something I would do with that offensive line last year in that receiving core. Are you kidding me? He's ass. He's ass.
What is it? I'm just gonna say something real quick. A reference to the great Dave Portnoy. The Patriots literally murdered Peyton Manning because he went into that Patriots game last year. The Broncos were killing it, and then the Patriots put him in a body bag, and Peyton Manning has not been the same since. He's been awful. Like, can't make a throw. It looks like it was like Tom Brady in the Chiefs game. Like, he's just throwing at people that aren't even there. Like, his
Brady
arm
has to
strength
zip
is
on the ball.
there.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, Brady's still got like some arm strength in him. Peyton Manning, it looks like his like shoulders like hanging down by his waist. He's got absolutely no arm strength. No, actually, it looks like he's throwing ducks. It's awful.
It's sad.
But Tim,
All right.
I agree with you. Thank you for my moment, guys. I appreciate it.
Let's.
Go ahead.
Got that off the-
All right. Let's crucify the Eagles then. If we're gonna crucify somebody.
Let's do it.
We'll see. Like I said earlier,
I think that's a good move.
I still stand by. I think the Eagles are going to win on Sunday over the Cowboys. The Eagles, they just scare the hell out of me, man. As bad as they looked in the first half, they scored so fast in the second half. And they didn't. I mean, what? DeMarco Murray had 2 touchdowns. He had 20 yards, 10 receiving, 10 rushing. Dude, but that's something too. Like, do you think that after seeing? I mean, it's game 1, so everything's an overreaction at this point. But you sign a running back for $9 million a year. An aging running back, and he had 8 carries and 3 catches, right? You signed Ryan Matthews, who had 6 carries. So DeMarco Murray was on the field for like 22 snaps. So that's where you're like, dude, are you doing this to spite the Cowboys, or are you doing it because you think he can help your team? They didn't build the offense around him, who's the best. He's the best player on their offense now.
No, there's no doubt about that, and I think you make a good point. Week 1 is an overreaction week, but at the same time, like you said, the yardage wasn't there. I think also, though, especially for someone in DeMarco Murray's situation like he was last year, the running back's play is often indicative of the play of the offensive line. And they didn't play up to their standards in the run-blocking game, so I'll give them that. I don't know what you guys think on that. George or Dave, anybody?
I mean, first off, I think it's insane that you go out and, like Tim said, you go out and sign this guy for, what was it, $9 million, and then you give him the ball 8 times. But yeah, like you said, like the offensive line for the Cowboys is absurd. It's ridiculous. Like anyone could rack up the numbers that DeMarco had last year with that offensive line. That being said, the Eagles have to do better. Like that was a terrible effort. I like what they did with the offense in the second half. I like that they were dumping it off to Matthews a lot. I thought Bradford looked good at times. I think it'll take a little while for the offense to gel and just kind of figure out like what everyone's role is. But it has to be better than that. They have to get DeMarco more involved, and they have to make him more of a focal point of the offense.
Not even a doubt, Dave.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about DeMarco Murray's productivity. I think it was down in week 1, obviously, even though it was against a team like the Vikings, who I don't even know how that was even possible. But I'm not worried. He's going to get his carries. He's going to get his yards. He's going to get his touchdowns. My concern is with the play calling. Like, you go to DeMarco only 8 times, but you go to Ryan Matthews 6. This guy you just signed for $9 million, who just had a fantastic year with the Cowboys, and you're going to go to Ryan Matthews almost the same amount of time as him. Like, I'm just really concerned with Chip Kelly's play calling there for the run.
Well, I hope it keeps its trend as we come into next week. And the Eagles' defensive back, Byron Maxwell, 12 targets, 11 catches, 145 yards. That's not a $41 million cornerback. And I know the Cowboys signed Brandon Carr for $50 million, and he's bad, but that was bad. No Cam Chancellor, even Sherman like the other day, dude. Sherman and I don't even know who their other dude is on the other side. But like without Cam Chancellor, you know what I mean? Chicken or the egg? Who makes the better player? What?
I think it may be Jeremy Lane on the other side now.
Yeah, still dude, Nick Foles threw 31. They scored 30 points, but there was a kick return touchdown, so 24 points still on the most daunted defense. And I don't know. That's a team. We'll segue into this game. Cam Chancellor, they need to do something with Cam Chancellor, man. They are such a different defense without him.
It's amazing how much he sets the tone. I mean, honestly, it's really unbelievable what he's able to do. He, in my eyes, is the best safety in football. I think in a lot of people's eyes, the best safety in football because he is so versatile in the sense that he's as hard-hitting a safety as I've seen since Troy Polamalu, and I don't think that's an overstatement. And he's as good a coverage guy, and he's not like Ed Reed territory, but he's really, really, really at that top tier, just below that Ed Reed, and maybe even better than his teammate Earl Thomas, who's also an All-Pro and phenomenal.
Yep, I think that's definitely good.
Let's quickly go around. We all pick performers of the week. Tom Brady's my number 1 performer every week, but today I picked a different one. Aaron Donald from St. Louis. This kid is incredible. If you didn't notice him last year, he was the NFL's Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. You're going to be hearing a lot more about him, guaranteed. He's essentially the J.J. Watt of the interior line. Had 9 tackles, 2 sacks, and when you talk about making the very big play at the last second, 4th and 1, he's the one that took down beast mode. Proof that the Patriots still would have won that Super Bowl even if they run the ball. Dave, who is your player of the week?
It's got to be Gronk. The tight end scores 3 touchdowns in a game. It's fantastic. Nothing Pittsburgh could do could stop him the entire time. They literally told him at the beginning of the week what they were going to do. He's like, we're going to just hit him hard right off the offensive line. He's like, cool, I'm just going to do the exact same thing I always do. Scores 3 touchdowns. Looked like it was a man amongst boys out there. There was one play where they just decided not to even cover him, and Brady immediately was like, all right, we're going to him. And then he runs 30 yards down the sideline, almost untouched to the end zone. It was you can't stop this guy.
George, player of the week.
Tim's going to like this one. I got Carlos Hyde from the Ohio State University. Second year back for the Niners. Got his first start with Gore shipped out to Indy. Ran for 168 yards, couple touchdowns. Had that ridiculous spin move and cut back TD. I know, again, like Tim said, like everything we say week 1's an overreaction, but I think this kid has the potential to be special. He looked great. He was running hard. He was running physical. I know, like I said earlier, with Jonas Gray, like 1 week doesn't make a running back's career, but I think he's got potential.
He's a stud.
Yeah.
Tim?
I'm going to go with number 2 overall pick, Marcus Mariota, as I read today. That's the correct pronunciation. 4 touchdowns. Granted, he was playing Tennessee, but damn, he looked really good, and he looked in his first start a lot like a guy we talked about last week, Robert Griffin III. Hopefully, his career turns out a little better than the start of the all-great RG3. But the Tennessee looked like they could compete in that division against the worst team in the NFL, again. But 4 touchdowns quick, too. First drive, he had a big touchdown, and they were running an offense that looked like it was tailored for Marcus Mariota, rather than Tampa Bay looked like they were running an offense tailored for Tampa Bay that Jameis Winston was adjusting to. So I really applaud the Tennessee coaches on that one, Ken Wisenhunt and company. And I'll give a runner-up just because I have to. Dallas Cowboys offensive line, because it should be every week. Tony Romo, dude got hit twice. One was on a touchdown on a play action. The other one was cheap shot. So.
Very good point about the Tampa Bay offense not adjusting to Jameis Winston. That's classic Lovie Smith. Why do things that make sense? Quick, let's end this with just your team, just your pick. Chiefs, Broncos. Dave, start us off. Who you got?
Broncos. Think they're going to come back strong.
George.
Same thing, Broncos.
Tim.
Chiefs. Was not impressed with Peyton Manning. And what did the Chiefs have 2 picks last week against Brian Hoyer? I think the Chiefs could shock them here. If it's an upset, it could be an upset.
Is it an Arrowhead or is that Mile High?
I think it's at Arrowhead, right?
I believe it's at Arrowhead.
On a night prime time, I think. I think the Chiefs have
Thursday night.
I'm going to change my pick.
Travis Kelce.
Listen.
Travis Kelce, that should be my player of the week, dude.
The rule is you never go with Peyton Manning because I'm a better quarterback than him. You go with the Chiefs. Pats, Bills. Tim, you can go across the board.
I want to say the Bills, but I'll go Patriots.
George?
Pats. Easy. Tyrod Taylor's got nothing on us.
Dave, say it.
It's going to be really close, but the Patriots are going to win. It's going to be a close game, though.
Spot on. Pats win a close one. I agree. Chargers, Bengals. Tim again.
Bengals. They looked real good last week. They played Oakland again, but Jeremy Hill, Andy Dalton looked competent, which is pretty cool.
It's emotion.
So, and he had a great pump-up speech before the game. So if he's got anything like that in the pocket, this is game over quick.
That was the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. George?
I'm taking the Chargers. I don't think having fun and playing together is going to get it done for the Bengals, so I'll take Philly Riv.
Dave, go ahead.
Go Chargers.
Chargers win, in my opinion. Cowboys, Eagles, and Tim, lead us off.
I've been saying the Eagles for 2 weeks, hoping I'm wrong. I've been wrong many times before, so hopefully this is another time. I'm going to say the Eagles in a close one. Eagles in a close one.
George?
If they had Dez, I'd take the Cowboys, but without him, I'll take the Eagles. I think they figure it out offensively.
Dave?
Dave,
Still
pick the
think
Eagles.
Cowboys,
Both
no
of you guys
Joe
pick
Burrow.
the Eagles.
Dave, go ahead. Say that again. I couldn't hear you.
I'm still taking the Cowboys without Des Bryant. I think their offensive line is too good, especially with Gay Byron Maxwell had.
I think Dallas obviously the better team, but I think in this occasion, when you look at what Chip Kelly's offense is able to do, they had about 85 penalties on one drive and still managed to score. Maybe that's a little bit of a exaggeration. I think the Eagles win this game, and a shocker. Seahawks Packers pending Cam Chancellor. Let's say Cam Chancellor is out for this game. Who do you have?
Packers. Packers. Absolutely Packers. Richard Rodgers with the touchdown. That's my prediction.
George.
I got Seahawks. I think Russell Wilson's dad, God, was just testing him last week, so he's going to rebound strong.
He's giving everybody else a chance.
Dave.
Frisco loves the Wilson chirps.
Go, Pack, go.
Yeah, I'm going with the Packers, too, because, you know, you made a great point about Jesus Wilson and all this stuff, everything he's got going on with him. He is going to give everybody a chance this year, which is great.
God's just testing him.
Yeah, it's a test, and you will learn from his test. So that's all we got this week. Thanks, boys.
All right, hey,
same time.
All right, little after show here. Anything on your mind? Little final thoughts.
What was a worse game, San Fran Vikings or Miami Redskins?
Nothing can ever top San Fran Vikings. That was just a shit show.
I had
a better question is, what would be a worse game? San Fran Vikings or Guatemala versus Haiti women's soccer. That was one of the most miserable,
those Guatemalans are strong
events. Everybody on ESPN should be crucified for just showing that.
Oh my God, how bad was that the commentary, dude?
Oh.
Like, I know you guys hate Dilfer. I thought
Berman as a commentator.
Did you see Berman on the blocked field goal?
On that, yeah, the block.
I love Chris Berman.
Big trouble.
I'm not gonna lie. I hold a special place in my heart for Chris Berman ever since I saw The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. I love him. My favorite play call of all time in football just had to be last season when he's talking about how the league's not going to stand for domestic violence, and then the Cardinals block a punt. He's like, yeah, you got to know that it's never. And the punt is blocked. And he just absolutely freaked the hell out. And completely just didn't even talk about domestic violence afterwards. I love him.
Thank God he only does one game a year.
Yeah, thank God. I agree. I was waiting for the back, and luckily we didn't get it.
Chris Berman's only role as a commentator is just be going, whoop, whenever someone dangles someone. That's it.
Exactly.
Just be able to do that and say nothing else.
Yeah, I would like to see Mike Dick call a game, because that would be so entertaining.
He'd start talking about other things, and other things we don't want to hear about. You guys got anything else?
Let's see. We're going to go 3-0 on Saturday, take over the Northern Illinois Huskies championship caliber schedule.
Syracuse football won against Wake Forest. I did not go to the game on account of I was hungover, and
hey, you can't drink. You're not 21.
That's true.
Children on this site.
It depends. A little piece of plastic says I am, and I was hungover, and B, I would have gotten an even worse headache having watched them play. They still won. We're 2-0, undefeated. Go Orange.
Yeah. I was away on a retreat this weekend, so I missed my first BC home game in I think 15 years, but probably the best one to miss. I don't know why the hell we scheduled Howard. Apparently, you're allowed to reduce the play clock or the game clock in the second half if you're just blowing the hell out of someone. Yeah. So I didn't know that was a rule. But yeah, that game should not have been scheduled.
Nope. I had a full ride to Howard without applying. They sent me a letter in the mail. 100% scholarship.
Yeah, I don't know what I was doing this weekend that I missed the BU football game. I couldn't find it on campus. I live right next to the football field too, but it just wasn't there. So I guess I'll just have to keep waiting around for next week.
I guess so.
I threw out a tweet on Saturday. I said I pity anybody who doesn't go to a major college football program. I stand by it. We played.
Pity you for living in Ohio for more than half the year.
Dude, but it's. I don't know, man. It was Saturday. You just wake up and you go tailgate and you go to the game and you come back and I sat and watched football till 10 o'clock. Went to bed. Woke up at 11. Went to breakfast. Came back. Watched football all day. And I have Mondays off.
You see, I get where you're coming from, Tim. Just because we're the same way with hockey here. Every day, we have a big game. It is the whole campus. You can't think of anything else. Half the people just don't go to class. Everybody's just absolutely jumping out of their seats. Like we played, we had a weekend series with Michigan and Michigan State. Both teams finished outside of the top 20 last year, and it was like the most electric atmosphere ever because it was just our home opener, and it was like fantastic.
Yeah.
Same with you. I'm assuming same with you, George. Like especially with you guys this year.
No, before the BU game last year, it was like the hype was unreal around campus. Like half the people weren't. Half the people were. That's all they were talking about. Like that's all that was all over Yik Yak. Like that's all anyone cares about.
Yik Yak after a game is the funniest thing ever. Like especially if the opposing team lost and you're like after we beat BC at BC, the funniest thing was just walking back to the tee reading Yik Yak because they're the funniest things ever. Like even if they're insulting you, they are so fucking funny.
Yeah.
Ooh, BC and Ohio State play hockey against each other in Florida.
Hey,
that's the most pure matchup of any sport ever.
Over
Tim,
Christmas break in Florida.
Tim, don't you worry. My BU women Terriers are playing Ohio State at UVM on Thanksgiving weekend, so I'll make sure I'm there.
I call the game.
Destination hockey games. Like, why is that a thing?
We have a tournament for some reason because I work for the women's team. They decided we're gonna have a tournament with Cornell, Ohio State, and BU, and I think there's one other team. I can't remember.
I might call that because I call the women's hockey games here. So if I'm in, because I'll be home for Thanksgiving, maybe Dave will drive up and I'm gonna.
Well, what is it? I work for the women's team, so if you're up there, just stop by because I'm gonna be doing like equipment stuff with all that.
Yeah, sweet.
All right, boys, you got it. That's it.
I guess that's it. Well,
same place, same time next week.
Peace out. Look out for a fantasy football podcast later this week.
Oh,
Yeah, sounds good to me.
I'm out.
Peace.
Peace.